You like ska, Bob?
The music.
Yeah, do you like ska?
I forget if I do. Do I have to?
Why don't you come inside? I want to play you some ska that will turn you into an escassionado.
Hands up, living the apocalypse. Don't shoot, this is not the way to live. Mask up, living in this world. All the happy boys and girls can't breathe.
Bringing you the voice and vision of custom culture and lifestyle, as seen through the eyes of this South Texas duo. Welcome to the Custom Couple. Welcome to the Custom Couple. We are a podcast that has, our roots all within the custom culture, which is typically to do with old cars and pinup models and artists and such. And we decided, music is a big part of that. So we're really excited to have you on.
Oh, cool. Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, it all kind of goes hand in hand. I mean, the whole music scene thing. There's always, from car shows to just, people in the scene that have cars and clubs. I mean, we've always kind of been around that. What's funny is that my brother, he actually has like a Falcon and he's all into that stuff. And he would have been good for this too, but we just didn't plan enough. But he's actually kind of more of a car guy. I mean, I love all those cars and I'm into the same stuff, but he actually like has one that he works on and all that stuff. So,
Oh, that's really cool. So folks that are out there listening to us, we've got Eddie from the Voodoo Glow Skulls. This is one of the coolest interviews that I've ever been a part of. And I've been on a few podcasts, but
that's nice.
Dude, I've been listening to the Voodoo Glow Skulls for a bit, and Sam and I, that y'all were our first date.
Yeah, y'all were our first date show.
Oh, that's cool. Which venue and when was that, if you don't mind me asking?
Paper Tiger in San Antonio.
Oh yeah. I can see better without him actually. Cool. Yeah, I remember that little kind of like bar, kind of short-lived parties. It was kind of a smaller place with like a little patio on the side. I remember we played some hot ass shows in there. I just remember that's probably the pack. Was that? That's not the White Building though, right?
It used to be the White Rabbit, and then they renamed it. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so never mind. I'm thinking of a different place then. Okay, so it was one of the many times we played that building then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was y'all and Reverend Horton Heat.
And Big Sandy.
Oh, okay, so it was the recent one then. The one like right before the pandemic hit and all that stuff.
Yes.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that's a good memory. That was a good one for sure. I'm glad that worked out for you guys.
First date, ended up married. Yeah. Worked out perfect.
That's awesome, man. I mean, congrats. That's cool to hear. I'm glad it's a good match. I mean, I hope the show was fun.
Oh, it was absolutely fun. We were both in the pit.
Oh wow! But what's cool is that you met there. It's like I wouldn't be worried about no damn voodoo show after that. I'd be worried about I'd be all, look at this chick. I'd be all into that. But that's right.
So, big reason why we wanted to have you on was this new album. I mean, I listened to it the minute you told me it was out, and absolutely loving it. It's absolute fire. So tell us a little bit about going into this album.
First of all, thanks, man. I mean that means a lot. It's the first one without my older brother. I mean, let me address like the elephant in the room because people seem to kind of skate around it sometimes, but it's the first one without my older brother, who's obviously, I mean, a huge part of the band. I mean, you can't deny that. I mean, that's something that we would never, hide, or we can't.
Of course,
that we're proud of. But he decided, I mean, on his own to leave the band, and we were stuck not knowing what to do. Mm-hmm. So this record is kind of like the chapter right when that was ending and everything was beginning. Which was like we didn't know if there was going to be another beginning or another record. Let's say. So yeah, I'm surprised it came out. I mean, first of all, I'm surprised that we have a record out. Mm-hmm. Like I'm probably just as shocked as somebody who's shocked that my brother's not there. Which we seem to see a little bit of that. There's like, oh, I didn't even know that happened. Which is like, that has to be pretty fucked up if you're a longtime fan. I mean,
right.
I would never deny that. I mean. It has to be weird. I mean, it was weird for us still. You know what I mean? Not to just to throw it out there. And we love the album. You know what I mean? But it's I guess it's just like everything. It sums up everything to us what went down kind of in our world, or what we see as the world going on from our perspective. For 4 or 5 years, you know, not to get all into politics, but kind of like what was going on with the whole Trump era. You know? I mean, I don't really like to talk about sides and politics. This is lame, but it's kind of like from our point of view, being West Coast, a predominantly, like Mexican American band from Coast, where we naturally have our opinions, you know.
Of course,
the songs came out the way they did just because of how we felt about, you know, at the time and now. And those songs are pretty much like I guess are like a chapter, or like the notebook or whatever, like it's like the audio book of what we saw went down from like the time my brother was pretty much on his way out of the band. Like, because I mean, I started to write the demos right at the end, like maybe his last year, you know. We started to work on some stuff that I had put, you know, I mean, it usually starts with the guitars or bass. So I had presented the band some songs, and we had done a couple of demos, and then we were just busy being on the road. So we didn't really finish the record. It took us like a few years to even get back to trying to do a demo. And then I just continued. Once my brother left and all that went down, it was sink or swim for us. We were about to stop. We were about to make the announcement that we were going to stop. We were about a week to about 2 weeks away from like, you know, like typing out a thing and putting it out on, like, you know, on all the platforms, just saying, hey, we're going to retire or quit for a while, or just make an announcement. But Ephraim from Death by Stereo, just he happened to reach out. He saw what was going on online. There was a little bit of drama on Facebook and all this stuff going on. He reached out, wanted to, and we hadn't really thought about, because it's hard to replace a brother. Let alone like this guy who's been in a band for that long. You know? But we thought about it, and it was really all this stuff was coming at us, like this business stuff too. Like, I mean, we have a booking agent, and we have shows booked and stuff going on, and kind of got squashed and kind of taken out from underneath us. So we decided to fulfill the commitments with Ephraim. We just love being a band and playing the songs. And this is what we've always done. So we just kept going, man. We just decided to just go. And then that's how this record came. I mean, to get back to the record, that's how the record kind of came about, is we decided, well, do we put this as a stamp in time and record this for what's going on right now? Because with the world going on the way it is, and even, I mean, no one saw what was going to even happen with the whole COVID thing. I mean, I die left and right, and there was people either getting sick or not getting sick at all. It was just weird stuff going on. So who knows what was going to happen, right? Like, I mean, you don't. So we were just like, well, it's now or never. Let's just record this moment in time. Let's keep on going with the writing, because we're all home now, stuck at home, you know?
Yeah.
So I just pulled out the old demos that we had. I reached for the ones that I wrote, you know what I mean? Because I didn't want, and like, I mean, I wrote a lot of them, but I didn't want any conflicts and stuff like that with, you know, with my older brother, or like the old line. So I just continued with the lyrics and that I wrote, and we just kept on going with the 3 or 4 demos that we liked the best, and then wrote these other like 9 to 10 songs, which were all written between, well, I mean, pretty much all of 2020. We just worked, you know, and put out. We just recorded, you know, like a socially distanced as possible, which meant that the drummer was getting tested. He's actually in the service industry, so he was getting tested every week, and he was coming to my house just to record drums. So we would just do bass guitar and drums, and then we would have the horn players do their stuff in their own spots. You know, they had their own spots to do it in. So they would just send me tracks, and then we would just go back and forth, and then it became an album, you know? And I mean, it's mostly, I mean, it kind of has a recurring theme. I mean, it's almost like a concept record in a way. We didn't want to be say it was and go that, but it basically is, if you look at the titles, the theme, the artwork, what we say in a lot of the songs, you know?
Yeah.
It's kind of represents what we like our take on things, I guess. The last 4 or 5 years. That's the best way to put it. It's kind of an angry ska record in a way. It's like it's a little bit angry. I mean, it has a little bit of pop punk in there, but it's kind of a little bit of a kind of an angry record for I guess a ska type band. You know, I mean, we never consider ourselves to be a ska band, but you know, we're definitely like a ska tinged, like a ska influenced band. But for us, this is kind of a pretty much. I mean, there's a lot of kind of ska-ish type songs, like the most we've done in a while. I think a lot of more ska type elements. I mean, it might be kind of heavy here and there, but to us, this is like more of a ska record for us. But it's just kind of an angry one. There's a little bit more kind of, you know, we're saying some shit. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
I mean, being completely unapologetic about it. Just
now, have you ever had any of your previous albums in the past have such a message, you know, as this one did? Did you ever have that before?
Well, we've had like just songs, I guess, like a few, like there's always songs where we'll say some social stuff. Especially if you pay attention, as the band got a little bit older, you can kind of tell, you know. But I mean, the first stuff too. I mean, even like right at the beginning, we were saying. I mean, we always had like some comments about racism or about this or that. There was always something there. Like always. I mean, it's not even hard. You don't even have to read between the lines. There's always a song in there from the very beginning. But we started off as younger dudes, you know, which was more about drinking and partying. We're more like a party, ska punk, backyard. I mean, we started off just as a backyard party band. So that's what we did. So we kind of had songs that went along with that lifestyle, more drinking, more fun. And we recognize that. And I love that stuff still. We still have that going on, you know what I mean? But now there's an angle to it. Like to us, like for instance, I don't even know if you've heard it all, but like the Karen song.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, we're making fun of everything, but it's real. The lyrics are super real.
Yeah.
You know? But to us, that's just funny. I mean, I don't know. It's just a funny song. So to us, that's just Voodoo being Voodoo still, like the song Fat Randy or something, which isn't a political song, but it's kind of, to me, that's the Fat Randy of the album. Kind of like more of a comedic song. You can look at it, you know, if you get it, and if you're not that serious, you kind of get it right off the bat, of course. You know, and it might offend some people, which I don't know. That's kind of poking fun more. There's a lot more serious bands than us, even, and you know, it is what it is. You can't take the name or the band that serious as it is, if you ask me. You know.
You know, it's funny you mentioned Fat Randy. I'll just give a little backstory here. I actually thought that song was Randy Gordo because I had first heard it on Exitos Al Carbon. And then when I went back and bought some more of your albums, because I was like, oh, this is rad. Then I heard the Spanish versions first.
That's sick. Yeah, and I've heard stuff like that in the past too, which is yeah, I never thought about it that way, but it would be a trip to hear it first and go, wait a minute, this band is mostly an American, like a Mexican-American band? You know, that's nuts. That's cool. Yeah, that was just an experiment that we did like on Epitaph Records, because there was no Latino like market back then, like sort of. There was rock en español, which is a different thing, but that hadn't broken into LA so much yet, and like Chicago and like the places in like Texas yet. There hadn't been a big breakthrough like there is now, you know? Like now you can see like a famous like rock and español band. I mean, when the world is normal, will play at the House of Blues in Texas now. You know, they'll come in now. Whereas that wasn't going on so much back then. But yeah, so we put out the Spanish version because we wanted to try it, and they were game because, I mean, it was a big label, you know, at the time. I mean, it was Epitaph Records. So they had the money and they had the resources. So they were like, we're totally game. Let's put out a Spanish version and see if we can get somewhere like in the Latin community to, you know, like to put it out in Mexico or to put it out like South America. But I don't think the distribution went that far. So it's interesting that it was a Spanish release in America, or like, I mean, America, which is kind of cool in a way. It wasn't a Latin release, man. It wasn't like put out in South America or geared towards that, which is kind of surprising, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it is really funny that, that now it is becoming more, like you said, rock and Espanol, like there's a lot more coming out. And now, you'd think that would have been around. I mean, we've had these cultures in our, we're in South Texas, we're in San Antonio. So like, that's big here. LA, you would think.
No strangers to like.
You would just think it would have made its debut a lot sooner, but I guess it was still staying underground for a long time.
Yeah, I don't know if it took it for a while because it's a mixture of musics, like it's just a weird mixture of music, because it's not as its own sound. And I just think it took for a while to filter down here to the people that live here or born here, or the people that just moved here like over the years, and finally that whole rock scene kind of started to creep in. I think it just took time. Took a few years.
So what's the plan for touring? Are y'all planning a tour right now for the new album?
Yeah, we've been planning stuff for a while. Like there was even talk, like right when the pandemic even started, there was shows kind of getting booked because people were figuring out if we were going to open back in 3 months or 6 months. Like no one knew it was going to be a year and a half later.
Yeah.
But now we're back at it again. The same thing we were doing a year ago. We're booking stuff now, except for the years. I mean, the world is different now because either places closed or kind of like the music business got kind of flipped on its head. So there's a lot of crazy stuff going on with like staffs of like places and clubs and all kinds of random stuff. So we're trying to book a tour, or we basically have a tour kind of on hold, like a club tour.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're just basically starting to book like random festivals and shows right now. We have one coming up in about 10 or 11 days in Tempe, Arizona, Punk in the Park.
Yeah, I saw that one.
Yeah,
I just saw the flyer.
Park.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's at a water park in Arizona. So that's a good one. That's with some cool bands, like big bands and stuff like that. And that's coming up real soon. That's our first show since December 21st, 2019, with the Reverend Horton Heat in Florida. That's the last show we played.
Dang.
Was Rev on that tour. As a matter of fact, was it the tour you guys met on maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the tour.
Yeah.
It might have been the tour, just a different leg of it on the way back.
Mm-hmm.
We played in the last show of that tour that we were on. We did the whole tour. We were in South Florida, like in somewhere. I think we were in Tampa. So that was the last show. So that was our last show. Was December 21st, 2019. So yeah, it's the first one back. So it's cool. We're gonna play like a festival. Probably be like a half-hour Warped Tour type set, anyways. So practicing it for a month now. So it's gonna be super tight. It's half of the new album is the set, which is cool.
Nice.
We're just doing actually 6 songs. We're doing 6 songs out of the 11. The plan is to play the whole album, which only takes about 30 minutes, and then play about 10 classic songs, like old school blues. So, we're trying to incorporate it because it's good to have some new tunes out that Ephraim can do, so he doesn't feel like he's just doing somebody else's material.
Mm-hmm.
So the material that he worked on with us now, which is cool because if we have to do it and we had to go out as the Voodoo Glow Skulls, that's the way to do it. We feel better now about having like a new album with his voice, that at least he can feel like he can go out. Not that he felt weird about it before, but it must be a trip to do somebody else's stuff.
Yeah. It's like you want to please the loyal fans of the band, but you also want to throw out something new that y'all been working on as a new part. And
so we're trying to do kind of like what the Vandals did. Like we're just following suit from our classic. I mean, the bands that we love that have had the same thing happen to them in some way or another. Lost a member that was super important, So that's the best thing that we could possibly do right now is have this record out the way it's going, which it seems to be going like fairly well for because I mean, right off the bat, people wrote us off when he quit the band for a minute, and we hear and see things, So we didn't know what was going to happen either. So we're just glad that the record's doing as well as it did, so we could at least go out there and play, and do the, So because we don't want to stop, So we're gonna we have that, and we have about 4 or 5 shows booked now that we're about to announce as soon as we get the green light, which is nothing like a tour per se yet, but we have a festival coming up in Pennsylvania. It's like a punk, like same type of thing, like punk festival. We're just gonna probably fly in and play and leave. Crossing our fingers that there'll be some Texas stuff coming up at some point. Like hopefully, I'm hoping for just a Texas like run of shows, quick, like just go there and back, or a festival scenario where people feel safe and they're outside. Which I'm more down for that. Just to the way the world is. I don't know how people feel in every state, and I kind of don't pay attention to all the politics because you go kind of nuts thinking about all that. But I'm hoping there's a good scenario for the band and everyone to feel safe and get to play in front of people. You know, that want to see it. Like that Texas festival, the one we did in San Antonio, which I can't think of. I think Remember the Punks festival.
Yeah,
it was called San Antonio. That one was great. If we could put ourselves in a scenario like that again, or even going back to the normal spots like the White Rabbit, I mean, whatever that club is now, you know, like the usual spots would be cool too.
Yeah.
You know, but nothing has come up yet, but I imagine that I'm hoping that's next once the record just kind of gains like some momentum, because we're starting to see already the results of the new album now, so we're starting to like immediately get stuff kind of thrown at us. So right now we have like an LA show booked. We're playing like a theater, like in downtown, like in downtown Los Angeles. We have another show in Orange County, that's all close by. And there's a couple other small, well, not small, but like kind of festivals in the works, like one day and out.
Yeah.
We're hoping for more. Oh, yeah, and there's a Denver festival. The Punk in the Park is trying to branch out and do that same festival we're doing next week. They're trying to like in other states.
Oh, okay.
So I'm hoping to think about Texas. They're doing Colorado. It looks like it might happen. So my thing is like, let's do Texas, man. Do one show where people can get to at least, or somewhere central, or do a couple.
Yeah.
So, but that's it for now. So I would say we got about 4 or 5 shows, and which is good enough from now until the end of the year, at least to start with. I mean,
yeah, we can get a little bit further past this, you know, pandemic scare, you know, of things going on.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah, that's a crazy thing. Like I said, it varies state to state, it seems like, and every news you hear in your state is different from the news you hear in the other state, and I don't know what to think. But like, I had a bunch of relatives die straight up, like that was shocking. Like, that's a young dude. So I saw it firsthand. So it was like, when it was gnarly here, it was like pretty hardcore. It was like, oh shit, scared to go outside style. Like people are dying, and the next door neighbor and my cousin, and like crazy. So yeah. So I don't know how it is going to be state to state, but I'm glad that shows are starting to appear now, and we get to play these new songs and get out there to see some people. Like I said, I'm crossing my fingers that some Texas or some the places that we like to go to.
Yeah.
Get sorted, and we get at least to do like a show, you know, so people could have fun and go see some shit and you know, just enjoy themselves again.
Oh yeah, no, I actually just came back from California. I was in Orange County. I was at Oak Canyon Park, and it was like a little psychobilly show. I just came back like this past weekend, and you can tell there were some people that were kind of standoffish, but once like music started playing, everybody was in the pit. Everybody was having a grand old time.
The big pit during like the Delta Bombers. A bunch of friends played that. Like the Delta Bombers, we just did the tour with them, and then one of the last Reverend tours we did was with them. As a matter of fact, not the one where we came through with you guys to see you guys, but the first leg of that tour, they did the whole thing with us. So we just did a tour with them right before this stuff closed down, and then Throw Rag and the Necromantics.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's right. That's right in my own backyard. But I think we're playing that place. As a matter of fact, that's that's coming up. I think that same park. There's some festival coming up.
Yeah, it's pretty big. The only thing that sucks is that there's absolutely no reception. So if you need to talk to anybody, be ready for it.
Oh yeah, super familiar. We've done at the Hootenannies. I grew up going to see that. A lot of shows there, but the Hootenanny used to be there. It was
that's what I knew it for. I knew that park for the Hootenanny. So when I went out there, I was like, oh, this is the same place. It was just crazy to be back.
Yeah, that's like 25 minutes from my house. Cool. That's cool. You went to that show. I saw it and I was like, I think the bass player of the Delta Bombers posted it on his story, and I was like, God, from the stage. I was like, God damn, like normal big ass like outdoor show. Cool. You know, I'm glad. I really hope, just like that New York, the show that happened like in New York last month or like 2 weeks ago. I'm hoping you don't hear about no cases and it's just like it's just a show and nobody got sick in Orange County. I hope it doesn't like cause a thing, man, because that would be rad to just have it be a normal thing again and just be like, we could kind of like just play it safe a little, but just go back to normal, you know.
So, you know, now that we've gotten like the album talked about and tours talked about and such, can we reminisce for a little bit? I want to know, you know, from
whatever you want, man.
I want to know from your perspective, being in Voodoo Glow Skulls, like what was some of the coolest moments, you know, from when y'all got started, like some of the coolest bands y'all have played with and things of that nature? Like any old stories you want to share with us?
Yeah, I have to search my brain once in a while for old stories because I don't get to talk about it a lot, but there's like just random cool stuff. I mean, there's always those firsts, man. And like when you realize you're going to be like, you're going to get to travel and do it for a while and like not just stay home and have to do some whatever bullshit work or whatever. I mean, it's cool for anybody who gets to do what they love to do, you know? I mean, whether it be building cars and just doing that for a living or just doing that or playing guitar for a living or whatever. So there was always those first things. I mean, there's not like necessarily name dropping stuff, but there's always those firsts, like first time going to Japan and playing sold out shows where you're like, God, I'm in like this crazy place and like every show sold out and like we have fans here. They're singing the words, but they're Japanese. They don't know how to speak English, you know? Stuff like that. I mean, those were like huge kind of things for us. Like it's more experiences, you know? For like name dropping stuff, I guess, which is always fun. Like we just got to experience stuff, I would say. Like it's more like being a fly on the wall more than like, oh, I was growing up with this weird famous person. It was more like we got to play festivals that were rad. As a music fan, we were like in 1997, we were like on this huge festival like in Sweden, and like it was like Rage Against the Machine and like the Wu-Tang Clan and the Prodigy and like you know Metallica. So you're on this show and you're on some other stage sometimes, like or even on the big stage playing early in the day, and you're just like a fly on the wall, and you're just like, whoa, you know, it's like surreal. 1997, you're at a festival with 100,000 Swedish kids, and you're watching Rage Against the Machine play, and like their heyday, and like the floor is shaking in the park, like the ground shaking, like the earth moving from people jumping. It was like that. It was like, whoa, I'm never gonna forget this, you know. So we had moments like that. We're just like, we got to like be in weird places. I have like kind of weird like memories of being in festivals in Europe, and like we were like hanging out with like the Jim Rose Side Circus show people, like that were like the people that pierce themselves all crazy and do stunts backstage with them, and like drinking and getting high with people from that crew, and then like the guy that used to be the Tonight Show band guy from like the Tonight Show's band played the same stage, and he's there with his band. It was like one of like the Marcellus brother jazz guys, like the Tonight Show leader, like at the time for 20 years. His band is there, and they're like smoking joints and like walking up in our bus, and like then like Motley Crue's playing the main stage, and the Pet Shop Boys are playing the other stage. Like yeah, memories like that, which is like just surreal places where you're at, where you're like, how did we get here, man? A little punk band from Riverside, and like these crazy things are just going around you, like big moments, you know, like. I don't know. Like we've been in cool places where you're just like backstage, like in like 2000, and you're at some festival, and like the Stone Temple Pilots dressing room is next to yours, and there's that band room, and you're just like playing some weird little stage, but like you're by all these giants and rock stardom, and then they're just like right there, and you're just like playing some ska punk shit on the Vans punk stage or something. You know, it's like. It's mostly cool stuff like that. I mean, there's a million of those, you know, but I think that's part of the territory when you're just a touring band and get to certain levels, you know, even if you're at the smallest level in the big arena, you still get to witness stuff. And we were kind of always in the middle or the smaller area to get to be around some cool stuff. So it's mostly been like that kind of stuff. Going to Russia for the first time and riding like an all-night train from Moscow to St. Petersburg and getting like hassled by Russian cops on the train and like drinking too much and like, you know, just stuff like that. Fun, crazy stuff, you know. There's a million of those.
Yeah. That's so rad, man.
Yeah, but we got to do cool stuff, man. I mean, thankfully, we get to do like a lot of stuff. I forget a lot about stuff. We were just talking about today because it's Joey Ramone's birthday. As a matter of fact,
yeah,
we got to be around him like in the '90s because he used to manage our friends band, our friends, the Independents. I don't know if you know them, like ska punk band.
Yeah. I'm very familiar with the Independents. There was like this big story going around San Antonio that me and the singer from that band had an issue, and like and so like he came to San Antonio one time, and he was like, "Hey, we don't have an issue," like because I had a band that was just playing locally here, and I was like, the Blood Moon Howlers. We were a psychobilly band here in San Antonio.
I saw that name before on a thing. Cool.
Well, that's rad. But he came to San Antonio and we were at the show hanging out with him, and he was like, "Hey man, somebody said we had a problem," and I was like, "I've never heard that in my life, but sure, we don't."
Yeah, this is rad. I mean, I've known him for forever, man. We met them in Augusta, Georgia, like 20 plus years ago. But we met Joey Ramone through him because he managed their band from like, I guess like right up until his death, but like right before all that, the last 10, like I'd say 10, 15 years of his life, he managed our friend's band. So it was crazy. So, you know, I know it's punk rock shit, but it's fucking Joey Ramone, man. So he hung out like in New York a couple of times at shows, and then a really surreal thing was having him backstage in our dressing room at the Troubadour at a show in Hollywood. Like we played like 2 nights in Hollywood, like 98, 99 or something. And we were doing like two nights in a row there. And the Independents were on 1 or 2 of the shows, maybe both of the shows. And he was just there for the weekend. Like, so he's just chilling. Like he had his nurse at the time because he was going to like cancer treats. So he had a private nurse with him kind of a lot of the time, which I don't know if people knew that, but it was trippy. He was just like the Joey Ramone you see on TV style, like with a leather jacket and a striped shirt or something, like Joey. And he would just be chilling in the backstage room, and it's like fucking Joey Ramone right there. And you're like, you're going about your day at your show, like a little, 500 person club or whatever. And Hollywood, rad, you're in the cool spot, like a legendary spot. And he's just chilling. Like, I know people just do that, but he's just like, that's fucking Joey Ramone. Like that kind of stuff happened to us a little bit, like cool little things like that, where it was like a big deal, but it was like, oh, don't get too fanboy on him. He's just chilling. But like, he's at your show hanging out and has a t-shirt on. Like that kind of stuff. So that was a good one. That was one that I'll never forget. And it just happened to come up today because his birthday was all over the news feeds and stuff. So I was like, we got a good photo of Joey wearing a shirt. So we always blast it once in a while. Because we had so we have like the perfect photos of him wearing some t-shirts. We're like, oh, okay, we always use him. But he was cool dude and nice to us. So that's a good memory that, that won't ever leave us, there's been a few of those kind of little things like that or things, I guess.
Yeah, that's, I mean, you're right. Those are the types of memories that, you would hope that never leave your memory, that's super huge.
Photos like had that been like social media time, that would be trippy. It'd be like, oh, we're on our story with this guy and this guy. Now it's like, I'm glad there's little photos of just good memories that people wouldn't not believe.
Yeah.
Or just like this cool, now you could capture all that stuff real quick, almost too much, but back then it was just pretty vague what was going on. People didn't know what was up. And you just kind of like, I wonder what that person is doing. You kind of didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
But, I'm glad there's some old photos and stuff to just even to share with people. It's rad to let people know that at one point he was around and he was like at his shows with Voodoo Glow Skulls and was cool and was like huge. This huge icon was super nice to us.
Absolutely,
like
man. That's
like a normal dude.
You really don't think about folks that you're that you almost idolize. As being normal people, and that's really rad.
I've had that happen to me, kind of like I mean, like even lately, some people I've come across with or met, which have been like huge to me, you know, here and there. And it's like, oh, I can't believe that I'm chilling here when I act like an idiot. You know what I mean? I get that, man. I've been around some of those, you know, some of those times I've been like, just, you know, shut up. Don't say nothing dumb. You know, sit there, listen, learn something.
Well, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up on our end here and let our listeners get back to their daily lives. Sam, do you have any shout outs you need to give this week?
Definitely shout out to you, Eddie, for joining us and sitting with us and talking with us.
Thank you so much for your time. You guys are awesome. I'm glad you guys are doing this. It's cool. It's cool to hear from some people from San Antonio. You know, great town, great place to be at and play and to hang out in. I have so many fond memories of that town and that place. Like it's endless stories, stuff that I for sure forgot about that people come up and tell. Crazy hangs, crazy parties. We've stayed there for multiple days. I've known many a band there. I think it's endless, man. It's always been fun there. And it's that's one of the places we look forward to. That's like top city. I mean, that's top city. That's like, there's always top cities. It's like, if you're playing, I mean, for Voodoo, at least, it's always like, if you're playing, like, you want to play Chicago, you want to play LA, you want to play New York, like, you know, you want to play Tokyo, you want to play San Antonio.
That's awesome to hear.
Well, everybody here is gonna love hearing that.
No, I wouldn't kiss your ass just to say it. It's like it's usually a big stop out of the whole tour.
Yeah,
we know like, that's for sure most likely going to be an awesome show and like a memorable show. I mean, it's a given. It's been like that, you know, 9 out of 10 times at least. You know, so.
Absolutely. Well, I also, you know, my shout out for this week, of course, also thank you for being on the show. But I want to give a shout out to our buddy Marcus that made this, available to us and happen for us. So really appreciate you all talking together and making this work.
We did some touring with them when they were in Piñata. It was cool it was cool touring with those guys. You know what I mean? I'm glad they're cool. And we always kind of hang out with those guys, the former dudes. We've known them. We kind of know them better. So I love seeing those guys. They're always cool. They have cool rides. You know, I'm all about it. You know, and that was a fun tour. That was great times.
Hell yeah. Eddie, you want to go ahead and if there's anybody you want to shout out to on our show here that you want to show some appreciation for? Yeah,
well, I guess thanks to the great state of Texas in general, it's always been cool to us. The south of Texas has always been especially cool. Not to wipe away the rest of Texas, but always a little bit. It's always been like really, really extra. You know, I guess Dallas too. Don't get me wrong. It's always been a big city, but like you want to go to those places. You want to hit Dallas. You want to hit San Antonio and Corpus. Those are the spots for us, man. So thank you so much. We can't wait to get back there at a certain point when it's safe for all of us to get a show, you know, like a proper show, which will hope. And to plug the album again, the album Livin The Apocalypse is brand new. It's been out for a little bit less than a week, or about a week now. We have a video on YouTube for the first single, which is the self-titled Livin The Apocalypse, 11-song album, streaming on all platforms. You could pre-order the vinyls coming soon. Again, we just sold out of the first pressing of the colored vinyl, which they messed up and pressed too small of an amount and sold out quick. So we're working on the second pressing of the vinyl, which is going to be announced real soon. And there's CDs coming too for anybody out there who wants CDs still. So anyways, new album out there on all streaming platforms, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, wherever you can listen to all, you know, to music, it's there. Thank you all so much.
Of course.
Absolutely. Thank you for being on the show. And for all our listeners out there and all things custom, keep it cool.